The two that they say are on the table to be booked, again, not official, but looks that way. Ciryl Gane will take on Tai Tuivasa, and on a different card, I believe, Tom Aspinall will take on Curtis Blaydes. Okay, BC, first question here, again, will go to you. Do you like this matchmaking? Do you like the way that these fights were arranged for these fighters at this moment in the UFC heavyweight division?
Obviously hard to complain because we get what we want in the end most times by UFC, and that's just incredible as a fan, as a journalist, whatever. And these two matchups does open the door for what we should be getting. We probably will in September, which is John Jones versus Stipe Miocic for the interim heavyweight title. Perfection, right? Whether or not Francis is coming back. But Luke, I don't love these two, and particularly the Gane Tuivasa one. And it's like, I mean, I almost feel Tuivasa got that Derek Lewis fight a little bit too early. Only he, to his credit, kicked that freaking door down. But Luke, styles ultimately make fights, and this is such a poor style matchup for Tai Tuivasa that it's like, man, I would have loved a lot more just switching those two. Meaning, look, do I like the idea of Tom Aspinall headlining a July 23rd London card? Yes. But Tom Aspinall versus Tai Tuivasa to really figure out which rising heavyweight has next is not only a much better style matchup, and on the flip side, would you like Ciryl Gane versus Curtis Blaydes? Yeah. Yeah, I think I would, Luke. But I don't say this from the standpoint of being a Tuivasa super fan or, harping on the idea that his ceiling's going to come soon, right? He's going to hit it soon. But, dude, on paper, Luke, he can't win that Gane fight. Come on, you know that.
Yeah, on paper, that's a very difficult fight. Very difficult fight.
You know that shit. And what are they going to do it in Paris? Okay, cool. But, I'd almost rather give Gane a stay bit, and I guess this could end up being, a nicely wrapped stay busy in the end if the styles play out the way we think they do. And do I believe Ciryl Gane can dance circles around Tuivasa and not get hit by the big one? Yes. Do I believe Ciryl Gane's also in the gym right now working on wrestling after Ngannou out-wrestled him for the championship? Yes. So I know he's going to come back even better than ever. But, Tuivasa's an interesting marketable bonus right now because he's actually going legit. Meaning he's always going to be the carnival, fun and games, blood and guts, drink out of a shoe, knock dudes out guy. And you could argue, BC, even if he takes this L to Gane, he could just keep being that guy. Yes. But this is the window of his absolute pure rise. And I don't know if it's time to send him in there to that boss named Ciryl Gane, Luke. I don't know if it's time. I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like, let's think about this. If you had done the opposite, switching the opponents a little bit, so you do now, well, by the way, just to be clear, Ciryl Gane versus Tuivasa is expected to be a 5-round headliner September 3rd in Paris. First reported by Ariel Helwani. So if you switch that up, if you do not Gane versus Tuivasa, but Gane versus Blaydes, that was the very fight that I thought should have been next for both. Because, to your point, what we saw was Francis basically use his wrestling to take the fight late. And so you're like, well, there's some larger questions here about how much of a liability this actually is. Blaydes would be the perfect test. Plus, Blaydes has put together, he had the loss against Derek Lewis, but he's put together overall a pretty interesting body of work where you think he could be a title contender again. If he did it, beating Gane would put him right back there. So that's one that I thought would make sense. In the other case with Aspinall, I actually don't mind the Blaydes fight because that's a hell of a test for him too. But you would have thought that someone like Aspinall, like Gane already had a title shot. So now we're trying to recalibrate exactly where he falls in that top 5 space. With someone like Aspinall, he obviously has all the talent in the world, but I could see giving him a slightly slower role than maybe what you're treating Gane with, who's already at the top of that division, and giving him someone like Tuivasa, who was also needing a bit of a slower role, to see how those two contenders who, I would put Aspinall's ceiling probably higher than Tuivasa, but to credit to Tuivasa, they're not too far apart in this division in terms of what quality wins they have put together at this point. Obviously beating Derek Lewis for Tuivasa, a monster moment for him. It just seemed like that was the more natural pairing. But at the same time, BC, you have to understand the matchmakers may have tried that and been unable to make it for whatever reason. They weren't available. They didn't want it. Who the hell knows? This can go in a lot of different directions. I'll say I don't like Gane versus Tuivasa. It's a very difficult fight for Tuivasa to win, and it could be boring, by the way. On the other side, though, I wouldn't poo-poo that one. Aspinall versus Blaydes is a hell of a fight.
Good.
If Blaydes beats Aspinall, dude, Blaydes would have one of the best resumes for a guy who's lost twice to Francis. Like, those wins, those losses, he can't just immediately get over. They're bad, especially because he got lumped up and stopped. But the reality is, you look at the rest of his wins, man, they are amazing. On the other side, if Aspinall can beat someone who at this point is not just good at wrestling in Curtis Blaydes, but obviously his striking has come a long way as we saw in his last bout. And then on top of it, you already know about the wrestling behind it. So you got the striking now that's developed. You have the wrestling behind it, the veteran experience. Dude, I'm telling you, if Tom Aspinall beats Curtis Blaydes, that is as validating a win as it comes somewhere in that top 5 placement. That would be a huge win for him. And that, of course, will be on an unnamed card yet in UFC London, expected to take place on July 23rd.